The economy of Nigeria explained. Nigeria is a country located in West Africa with a coast on the Gulf of Guinea and the Atlantic Ocean. Neighboring countries include Benin, Cameroon, Chad, and Niger. The geography of Nigeria ranges from southern coastal swamps to tropical forests, woodlands, grasslands, and semi-desert in the north. The government system is the Federal Republic. The chief of state and the head of government is the president. Nigeria has a mixed economic system which includes a variety of private freedom combined with centralized economic planning and government regulation. Nigeria is a member of the Economic Community of West African States. It is a leading oil exporter with the largest natural gas reserves. Other export commodities are cocoa and rubber. The country's economic growth is mainly driven by strong performance in the agricultural, trade, telecommunications, manufacturing, and film industries. Although agriculture continues to employ close to 70% of the labor force, oil remains the key economic sector. Nigeria's main trade partners are Brazil, China, India, Japan, US, and the European Union. Before we continue exploring the economy of Nigeria, if you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and turn notifications so you don't miss out on any of our videos. Agriculture. Agriculture is at the center of the Nigerian economy, providing the main source of livelihood for the majority of Nigerians. The farming sector of this West African country employs about 70% of the entire country's labor force. As a matter of fact, the agricultural sector is made up of 4 subsectors: crop production, livestock, forestry, and fishing. However, crop production remains the largest segment, and it accounts for about 87.6% of the sector's total output, while livestock, fishing, and forestry account for 8.1%, 3.2%, and 1.1% respectively. Furthermore, agriculture accounts for about 24% of Nigeria's GDP. The country is a leader in various types of agricultural production, such as palm oil, cocoa beans, pineapple, and sorghum. It is one of the largest producers of sorghum in the world, just after the United States, and ranks 5th in the production of palm oil and cocoa beans. Nigeria is also a large global exporter in this sector. Oils, fruits, nuts, and seeds are among the 10 best performing export categories. Nigeria has a total agricultural area of 70.8 million hectares. This is distributed among arable land area of 34 million hectares, 6.5 million hectares for permanent crops, and 30.3 million hectares on meadows and pastures. Maize, cassava, Guinea corn, and yam are the major crops among households in Nigeria, and 70% of households practice crop farming. Unfortunately, the Nigerian agricultural sector has encountered several challenges, ranging from an obsolete land tenure system that limits access to land, a very low level of irrigation development, limited adoption of research findings and technologies, high cost of farm inputs, poor access to credit, inefficient fertilizer procurement and distribution, insufficient storage facilities, and poor access to markets, changes in average temperatures, rainfall, climate extremes, and infestation of pests and diseases, causing organisms precipitated by climate change pose great challenge to agriculture. This is coupled with a high dependence on rain-fed agriculture, which has made the agricultural production system highly vulnerable to adverse seasonal variations. These have all contributed to low agricultural productivity with high post-harvest losses and waste in Nigeria. Oil. Nigeria is Africa's main oil producer, with 18 operating pipelines and an average daily production of some 1.8 million barrels in 2020. Nigeria is the 11th largest oil producer worldwide. The country's economy and budget has been largely supported from income and revenues generated from the petroleum industry since 1960. Statistics as of February 2021 showed that Nigeria's oil sector contributes to about 9% of the entire country's GDP. Nigeria, as the largest oil and gas producer in Africa, is a major exporter of crude oil and petroleum products to the United States of America. In 2010, Nigeria exported over 1 million barrels per day to the USA, representing 9% of US total crude oil and petroleum products imports and over 40% of Nigeria exports. Nigeria's proven oil reserves are estimated to be 36 billion barrels. Natural gas reserves are well over 100 trillion cubic feet. Also, Nigeria is a member of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, and its current crude oil production averages around 1.6 million barrels per day. The types of crude oil exported by Nigeria are Bonny Light Oil, Forcados crude oil, Kwa Ibo crude oil, and Brass River crude oil. However, the poor corporate relations with indigenous communities, vandalism of oil infrastructure, severe ecological damage, and personal security problems throughout the Niger Delta oil-producing region continue to plague Nigeria's oil sector. Whatever the case, Nigeria still remains one of Africa's key oil producers, producing high-value, low-sulfur content crude oil. Although the country is currently struggling to cope with depleting revenues, liquidity, and convertibility issues, it is vigorously adopting measures to overcome economic downturn and exploring various alternative revenue sources, especially through natural gas commercialization and also infrastructure development. Transport. Nigeria, just like other nations, has various means of transportation, such as road, railway, air, and sea. However, roads are the most important means of transportation in Nigeria, carrying more than 4/5 of all passenger and freight traffic. The general pattern of road transport from north to south and from the interior to the southern seaports dates to the colonial period, when raw materials were shipped to Britain and other Western European countries, which returned them as finished goods. Road traffic is heaviest in densely settled areas and where there is greater economic activity, such as in the cocoa belt of southwestern Nigeria, the peanut and cotton belt of the Kano-Katsina region, and the palm belt of southeastern Nigeria. These areas are served by a dense network of all-weather roads. Areas that are more sparsely settled or not as economically productive tend to have a less developed road network. However, because the majority of T roads in Nigeria are poorly maintained, road conditions have deteriorated, resulting in hazardous conditions and longer travel times. Road safety standards are also deplorable, with a high accident rate. As if it's not enough, Lagos and other large cities have notorious traffic problems. Streets are packed with both pedestrians and vehicles that create traffic tie-ups called go-slows. To ease the traffic problems, people often share taxis or ride in trucks. Railway, on the other hand, which are now surpassed by roads, were once the dominant transport system. The railroad system has two single-track trunk lines, the eastern line from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, and the western line from Lagos to Kano. Branch lines connect the western trunk line to Kaura Namoda, Nguru, and Baro on the Niger. Unfortunately, there is a dense railway network across Nigeria, and passenger trains circulate on several routes across the country. But the sluggish speed of trains and the poor quality of service have impeded railway transportation from truly taking off. Actually, trains in Nigeria offer more of a quaint adventure than an efficient way to travel from point A to point B. Meanwhile, the sea transport is somehow better. Nigeria has 8,600 kilometers of inland waterways, of which the longest are the Niger River and its tributary, the Benue River. But the most used, especially by larger powered boats and for commerce, are in the Niger Delta, and all along the coast from Lagos Lagoon to Cross River. In the air transport sector, given the size of Nigeria and the road system condition, flying is a preferred means of transportation for intercity travel. All the country's large cities have their own airports or airfields and are served by domestic air routes. Additionally, Lagos, Abuja, and Kano are serviced by foreign carriers operating on regional and international routes. However, Nigeria does not have a national flagship carrier yet, and many smaller local companies have a poor safety record. Tourism. Nigeria has great prospects when it comes to tourism. This is because Nigeria is a country with diverse landscape, beautiful scenery, and many destinations with historic significance. Unfortunately, certain aspects have made its tourism sector not too foolish as it was meant to. In Nigeria, tourism is centered on activities happening in the country, such as festivals. Also, attractions such as parks, cultural sites, and natural sites also contribute to tourism in the country. Some of the tourist attractions include parks such as Millennial Park in Abuja, Agodi Gardens in Oyo State. Cultural sites such as the Osun Osogbo Grove, Kano City Walls, Idanre Hills can also be found. Waterfalls such as Agbokim Waterfalls, Ikogosi Warm Springs, Olumirin Waterfalls, and more are here too. All of these mentioned tourist attractions contribute to the influx of visitors and tourists into their respective states and hence leads to increase in revenue generated. Aside from the revenue generated, the tourism sector is affected by some ample issues in the country, such as poor electricity, bad roads, and insecurities in some regions within the country. Some of these issues have impacted the tourism sector of the country negatively. Entertainment. Nigeria's entertainment industry, including live entertainment, film, music, publishing, advertising, and broadcasting, has witnessed rapid development over the years, and recent trends show that the industry has the potential to revolutionize the country's economy. Nollywood, for instance, is reported to be the third largest and fastest growing movie industry in the world, after Hollywood and Bollywood. The sector has gained international recognition, with Nigerian films and music being demanded abroad on account of the growing population of Nigerians in the diaspora. The industry is considered a good platform to promote the brands of large organizations. These promotions have in turn increased the popularity and financial worth of brand ambassadors through endorsements, thereby growing the industry in general. The film and music industry is a veritable source of employment and a means of livelihood to a larger population. The sale of CDs and DVDs has typically been the major mode of film and music distribution in Nigeria, as well as the major source of revenue to the industry as a whole. However, in recent times, distribution has moved beyond the regular physical method and has gone digital to a much larger extent. Films and music content are now being streamed online and can be downloaded for offline views. The Nigerian film market has a significant number of online streaming platforms, for example, Africa Magic, Iroko TV, and more. The industry has also made streaming more convenient from any mobile device, with many Nigerians having busy schedules and limited time to go out to the cinemas. Online TVs have become handy. Viewers have unlimited access to Nigerian films with a lower subscription fee. Other online streaming platforms such as Ebony Live TV, Scene One TV, and Filmhouse TV also provide avenues for online streaming of Nigerian film content. More to it, their distribution has gone global. Netflix, an American media services provider, is gradually becoming the target of many Nigerian filmmakers, with over 30 million subscribers globally. Although airing of Nigerian films on Netflix started in 2015, Genevieve's Lionheart was the first Nigerian film to be acquired by the platform, with Mokalik by Kunle Afolayan being the second in 2019. Other than acquiring Nigerian-made films, the platform also airs Nollywood films for the viewing pleasure of its subscribers. This has expanded the industry's audience internationally, as Netflix has a wide range of subscribers from different parts of the world. The Nigerian music industry, on the other hand, has also embraced digital distribution of content, with various music digital distributors such as Boomplay, Apple Music, Habari by GT Bank, where music audios can be streamed and downloaded on the scene. Nigerian musicians also see these platforms as avenues to generate income. YouTube has also contributed to the revenue generation of the industry, as the number of views on a musical video translates to money. Musicians such as Ayodele Balogun, popularly known as Wizkid, and David Adeleke, known as Davido, with millions of views on their YouTube channels, will smile to the bank with revenue generated from this platform. Nigerian music has also expanded its distribution network, with songs being featured on foreign online streaming platforms such as Apple Store and Spotify. This has positively impacted the foreign exchange earnings of Nigerian musicians through royalties, which are typically earned in foreign currency. Despite the positive trends recorded in the industry, specifically in the digital space, we note that piracy has moved from the streets and has gone digital as well. With the high rate of internet penetration, pirates have advanced to pirating online. This has broadened the piracy market, causing legitimate online marketers to lose some of their viewers to these pirates, ultimately reducing the industry's revenue. YouTube is one of the major channels used by pirates in Nigeria to market visual and audio entertainment. Although digital pirates are on the rise, original content owners in conjunction with YouTube can take down pirated content. Mining. Nigeria has huge deposits of mineral resources spread across the different states in the federation, with abundance of iron ore, bitumen, gypsum, gold, talc, zinc, and lead. However, the sector remains significantly undertapped. Mining currently generates just 0.3% of GDP and leaves the country scrambling to import minerals like salt and iron ore, which could be produced domestically. In contrast, the oil and gas sector produces around 10% of GDP and 65% of government revenues. Several issues continue to constrain growth in the sector, including poor infrastructure, weak regulatory framework and institutions, lack of oversight, lack of best practices, and lack of data. As if not enough, concerns over illegal mining, lack of protection from legal miners, as well as the dichotomy between federal and state governments have all contributed to constraining investment in the mining sector. Furthermore, mining as a business activity in Nigeria is carried out on an artisanal basis. A few foreign investors have weathered the storm despite challenging conditions to make significant investments in the Nigerian mining sector. Some of these investors include Australia's Symbol Mining, who develops lead and zinc projects in Benue, Thor Explorations, a Canadian company that owns the Segilola Gold Project. Energy. Nigeria is the largest economy in sub-Saharan Africa, but limitations in the power sector constrain growth. Nigeria is endowed with large oil, gas, hydro, and solar resources, and it has the potential to generate 12,522 megawatts of electric power from existing plants. On most days, however, it is only able to dispatch around 4,000 megawatts, which is insufficient for a country of over 195 million people. Paradoxically, the country is potentially endowed with sustainable energy resources. Nigeria is rich in conventional energy resources, which include oil, national gas, lignite, and coal. It is also well endowed with renewable energy resources such as wood, solar, hydropower, and wind. The patterns of energy usage in Nigeria's economy can be divided into industrial, transport, commercial, agricultural, and household sectors. The household sectors account for the largest share of energy usage in the country. This is largely due to the low level of development in all the other sectors. The predominant energy resources for domestic and commercial uses in Nigeria are fuel, wood, charcoal, kerosene, cooking gas, and electricity. Other sources, though less common, are sawdust, agricultural crop residues of corn stalk, cassava sticks, and in extreme cases, cow dung. Also, among the urban dwellers, kerosene and gas are the major cooking fuels. The majority of people rely on kerosene stoves for domestic cooking, while only a few use gas and electric cookers. It has been estimated that about 86% of rural households in Nigeria depend on fuel wood as their source of energy. A fuel wood supply/demand imbalance in some parts of the country is now a real threat to the energy security of the rural communities. National electrification stands at 60% of the population, leaving 16 million households without access. The residential subsector consumes nearly 60% of total electricity generated, followed by commercial and public services, which account for another quarter. However, electricity remains a marginal source of energy in Nigeria. Manufacturing. The manufacturing industries in Nigeria is an economic sector that brings approximately 10% of total GDP each year. Manufacturing activity is concentrated in large cities like Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Ibadan in the south of the country. Millions of people are involved in producing household goods, consumer products, automobiles, and agriculture. The Nigerian manufacturing sector is dominated by the production of cement and building materials, food and beverages, tobacco, chemicals, fertilizers, wood, and textiles. Breweries and wheat mills are also important contributors to the manufacturing sector. Gratefully, the sector has been performing well in recent years as compared to previous years. The incentives by the government are also beginning to encourage greater interest. To encourage more output in the manufacturing sector, the government has been making it cheaper for consumers to purchase locally manufactured goods, making the foreign alternatives prohibitively expensive or totally unavailable through import bans, facilitation of cheaper funding, discriminatory foreign exchange policies, and more. However, manufacturing in Nigeria is faced with quite a few challenges. Chief among them is power supply, and most firms rely on emergency power generators to run seamless operations, eventually adding to cost. The country's physical infrastructural deficiencies are also a major constraint, difficult access to credit, and the cost of imported raw materials and skilled labor being additional challenges. Foreign economic relations. Nigeria is an important actor on the African and global stage. Its foreign practitioners and analysts often define Nigeria's interest as operating within 4 concentric circles. However, Nigeria's foreign economic relations revolve around its role in supplying the world economy with oil and natural gas. Even as the country seeks to diversify its exports, it harmonizes tariffs in line with a potential customs union sought by the Economic Community of West African States. It also encourages inflow of foreign portfolio and direct investment. It is also important to note that Nigeria implemented the ECOWAS Common External Tariff in October 2005, reducing the number of tariff bands. Tariffs were Nigeria's second greatest source of revenue after oil exports prior to this change. External trade. International trade between Nigeria and the other countries has always been beneficial. Nigeria earned $823.06 million from exports to ECOWAS countries and $2.72 billion from shipping out products to Africa in the first quarter of 2020. Nigeria's foreign trade grew as imports rose significantly and showed a marginal increase in export, resulting in an unfavorable trade balance in the third quarter of 2021. This is according to the National Bureau of Statistics. The report shows that total trade increased by 10.43% in the third quarter compared to the second quarter and 58.59% compared to the third quarter of 2020. According to the report, imported goods were mostly from China, India, the USA, Netherlands, and Belgium. However, China remains the top importing partner for Nigeria in 2021, followed by India. While for export, Nigeria exported mainly mineral products, which accounted for 89.77% of the total export value. External debt. Nigeria's public debt has risen the most under the Buhari administration when compared to previous governments since 1999. And foreign debt has grown 3 times more than the combined figure recorded by the past 3 administrations. Nigeria spent a sum of $520.78 million on external debt servicing in the third quarter of 2021, rising by 74.2% compared to $298.9 million recorded in the preceding quarter. This is contained in the quarterly debt report released by the Debt Management Office. A look at the data shows that a sum of $1.82 billion has been used to service external debts between January and September 2021. This is 43.9% higher than the $1.27 billion spent in the corresponding period of 2020. The increase in the country's external debt was driven by the €4 billion bond raised by the international debt market to boost the country's external reserve above $40 billion. Recall that Nigeria raised a sum of $4 billion in Eurobond in September, a capital raise which was dubbed one of the biggest financial trades on the African continent, after the order book peaked at $12.2 billion, which enabled the federal government to raise an additional $1 billion more than the intended $3 billion capital raise. Nigeria's debt profile continues to surge, hitting the highest levels on record as Nigeria still looks to obtain more loans, both domestically and externally, to fund the 2022 appropriation bill, which was just passed by the Senate. Foreign investment. Nigeria's foreign direct investment plunged by 74.01% in the third quarter of 2021, the lowest level since the National Bureau of Statistics started collecting the data in 2013. From $414.79 million reported in the comparable quarter of 2020, the latest capital importation report by the Statistics Office shows that Nigeria only attracted $107.81 million in the same period in 2021. According to statistics, lack of reforms, which has culminated in weak economic growth, foreign exchange volatility, and a harsh business environment, are some of the reasons Nigeria has struggled to attract sufficient foreign investment since 2015. It should be noted that in 2012, it received a net inflow of $85.73 billion of foreign direct investment, much of which came from Nigerians in the diaspora. There you have it, Displorers. That was the economy of Nigeria explained. Which other country's economy do you want us to talk about? Please drop it in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, like, and also share it with your friends.